In today's video, I'm going to go over the top 10 myths about Thailand. I'm hanging out here. This is a little rest area. These are the little riverways that run through the city. A very cool part of Bangkok. They were man-made. They're built to help with both irrigation as well as rain drainage. Not the cleanest, and sometimes they can smell a little bit bad, but they're not part of the actual sewage system. Unfortunately, you will find a lot of garbage floating in them. That is the reality of a giant metropolis. But it's a very cool area, and I love to walk around and explore these. Now, if you visit your doctor's office and tell them you're planning a trip to Thailand, the doctor's likely to recommend a whole series of vaccinations, hepatitis, tetanus, Japanese encephalitis. And my doctor recommended all of these vaccinations before I first came to Thailand. I haven't met anybody who has acquired hepatitis B drinking the water here. Actually, it is very rare to encounter any of these illnesses here in Thailand, especially if you're coming to Bangkok or if you're visiting any of the very developed areas in the south or Chiang Mai in the north. Really, your only riskier areas are probably going to be really rural. The most unnecessary vaccine is actually Japanese encephalitis, and it's generally really expensive. I ended up getting one shot. You're required to get 2 shots for protection, and you also don't need malaria pills. Now, I've been living here for almost 7 years, and I have yet to get malaria. Traveled all over the country. Malaria you can get prophylaxis pills for, but I've heard stories from people who have taken them, and you can get a little bit delusional, have crazy dreams, and frankly, given the risk, if you're visiting more built-up areas of Thailand, it is not worth paying for and risking those side effects. Thailand is actually a very safe country. You do not have things like street gangs, street violence. It's very rare to encounter, and you rarely find petty crime here. One of the things I notice is that Thais are very trusting. For example, if you go to a mall food court here in Bangkok or anywhere in Thailand, people will commonly leave their bags, leave their belongings at their table and wander over to buy food, and they can't see their bags, and it is a trustworthy environment. People leave things sitting around all the time, and there's very little petty theft here in Bangkok. It actually surprises me how little petty theft there is, given that there is a significant level of inequality here in the country. So I think there's much less crime actually in Bangkok than I tend to encounter in Western countries, and I feel safe wandering around literally anywhere in Bangkok. And I can't say that this is true for my own city of Toronto. I definitely can't say it's true when I'm traveling in the United States. Here in Bangkok, you have such a mix of different environments. You got all these modern condos, but then you also have smaller slum areas located right next to those. Everybody's very friendly. People are often still wearing masks here in Thailand. I don't know when those will actually go away.
YouTuber. Yeah. what channel? Content chicken fighting come here.
You guys take care.
See you again.
As you can see, lots of friendly people. I got invited to a chicken fight. Always find food here in Bangkok. You could walk around any corner and you'll find a little restaurant. Food quality is actually going to be better when you come to these little restaurants because they're serving local Thais every single day. And so you know that they don't want to get anybody sick. The ingredients are going to be fresher. Okay, so when you're wandering around Bangkok, you actually want to be eating at these little restaurants that you'll see a lot of Thais lined up and visiting. Everybody very friendly. One that I commonly heard when I first came here to Thailand was how you always are getting scammed. And this is simply not true. If you visit certain tourist areas, Khao San Road, Sukhumvit Strip around Asok and Nana, you'll have a lot of scams. Of course, this is the same in any country with a large-scale tourism industry. Go visit Paris, France, around the Eiffel Tower. There are a lot of scams there. When you get enough tourists visiting one place, of course you're gonna have some scams emerge. But if you come out to real Thailand, you'll notice people are very friendly and nobody is trying to scam you. So you just have to be wary when you're around places like Khao San Road. Somebody comes up to you, tries to bring you somewhere in a very touristy area. They're a little bit overly friendly. There's a good chance it could be a scam. That's no different in Thailand, France, Greece, my home country of Canada. We all have scams in specific tourist locations, and you just have to think about why somebody is coming up to you. Now this couldn't be further from the truth. Khao San Road is a very famous backpacker street, and it's definitely somewhere you want to check out if you visit Bangkok, but it is not even close to the center of Bangkok. The center of Bangkok is more in the Sukhumvit area and Saturn Central Business District. These are other great areas of the city, and they're very, very different from Khao San Road. If you've ever seen the movie The Beach with Leonardo DiCaprio, it depicts Khao San Road in the opening scenes as a dirty and chaotic place. It's a little bit of a dirty and chaotic place, but it's also a lot of fun. But it is not what most of Bangkok looks like. It is a tourist attraction. One that commonly embarrasses me a little bit as a foreigner living in Thailand. And this is the idea that you can barter or negotiate for anything. And actually recently you've had some TikTokers and YouTubers making videos, walking around, sticking a camera in people's faces and attempting to barter for very small things like a smoothie, a sausage that are already very, very inexpensive. In Thailand, it is not appropriate to barter and negotiate when you're shopping for food. It's a little bit insulting and embarrassing, and many of the shopkeepers will be friendly and agree to a slightly lower price. You gotta remember, you're here as a tourist. People do not earn as much money, and to come and try to barter for everything, it's really cheap. It's actually a term for Westerners that attempt to negotiate for everything, and it's called farang kino. Essentially means bird shit cheap. It just tells you that most of the people have encountered the barterers before. Should not barter. This is the perfect place to get a nice little jog in. You can run all around the city following these klong paths. Lots of cool graffiti on the walls. It's awesome to see. Here we are at the beginning of rainy season. People commonly think it rains every day, all the time in rainy season. That simply is not true. Now, Thailand seasons are interesting. You have rainy season, you have summer that is very hot. High season is typically around the winter, where you have a lot of pollution. From December up to around March, this is the height of pollution season here in Bangkok, and the air can get pretty bad. PM 2.5 levels, not very pleasant. And actually, one of my favorite times of the year is the rainy season. Typically get rain around 4 or 4:30 every day, and it often lasts for about 40 minutes. Much of the time, you are not getting much rain. It is cooler, and if you're traveling, it's a lot cheaper because it is not the high season. So for travelers, it could be more sensible to come during the rainy season and simply relax a little bit inside when it does rain and save yourself some money, enjoy the cooler weather. Now in Thailand, ice is added to virtually every drink. Ice is added to beer, coffee, tea. This is a very hot country. People love their ice, and you'll often see groups of Thais drinking beer at a bar with a big bucket of ice. You don't have to worry about the ice, at least here in Bangkok. That's usually made from filtered water. Now, you may not want to drink ice with your beer, but don't be worried about having ice in a smoothie or ice in a coffee. Bangkok is a very modern city, and believe it or not, the water is actually relatively safe. Now, I have a friend who's been living here for about 12 years. He's something of an interesting guy, and he was curious, would the water make you sick if you lived off of tap water in Thailand? Now, all the recommendations are going to say you must drink bottled water. Well, he drank tap water for 6 months and did not notice any health impacts. Maybe he's going to encounter some sort of lead poisoning later. The same guy did decide to do an experiment and live off of crickets for a year. You meet some interesting people here in Bangkok, but his experiment does demonstrate that you're not very likely to get too sick from the water, so don't be overly concerned.